Hello, hello, hello. Think we're live here. Think we got this. Let's get this all set up. Awesome, awesome. Oh man, let's get this going. Let's make some progress today. Let's start where we left off. Hello, hello, welcome. Welcome back. How's it going today? Everything good over there? Just still getting some things set up here. Make sure everything's working. Does everything sound good on your end? All right, let's see. Awesome. All right, let's just kind of see where we're at last time. Of course, I say this, I think, at the beginning of every stream, did not have time to really go through too much over the week, but that's just how it be. Okay. Now let's see, cool. So we can see our melee attack box. This is what I was kind of working on just a tiny bit. This way, that just represents our melee attack. And if we switch directions, you can see that we flip our character and then it stores it so we stay facing that direction until we get a different input. Awesome. Exactly what I wanted there. Do this, and then we should be able to take damage. Let me make sure enemy health is... Where's that at? And current enemy health 10. Why is he pushing me? That was weird. It's not a bug, it's a feature, right? Okay. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. So we can move left and right. We can rotate our character model right now. Probably not the most efficient, but that's kind of what I did here. We store a player direction, so it's facing left or right. If it's greater than 0, then our normal direction is right, so we set our direction to 0, and we rotate around the y-axis. If it's less, it is going left, facing the left side, and if there's no input at all, it just, whatever was stored previously under here, it just uses that. So that way, if we're not pressing anything, it stays one way or the other. It doesn't try to face forward, because we are technically in 3D space on this game. We just have the z-axis kind of zeroed out, or we can move it forward and backward to give us a little bit of depth here and there. So that's where we're at there. We need to, I knew we were going to get into the interfaces. Last time I didn't get into any of that like I promised. So, fail on my part. But what I want to do is start working on the enemy taking damage a little bit. So we have on trigger collider, take damage, and then we have our take damage here. So that means it will be unique to each of the enemies that this script is put on as a component. But I need to find a way. The way I'm thinking here now is if all of our enemies somehow like get on top of each other, this is just going to, our melee attack from our player is just going to apply to everything, right? Because they're all going to be in the same spot. So I feel like there's a way you can game the system and make all the enemies follow you to a certain spot, and then just melee attack, and it'll just apply damage to every single thing right there. So at some point I want to get into that, which I think will probably be when we get into the interfaces and everything that we talked about, we can hopefully get into that. But I think we can make this work here. So, yep. So then we're going to do enemy. And then we're going to add a new death. Take down, yeah. Oh, man. All right, then we want to add a new. Exactly. Yep. Yep. That's what I want to. I mean, there's a couple ways, right? If they have a rigid body and a collider, they wouldn't be able to overlap completely. I just think that would. It would just start making them move all as a block back and forth, right? Yeah, it'd be one if they have the same script. Exactly. I mean, it can be set up so either the enemies can be set up so there's only like one per platform, and they're a tougher kill, right? So it's more of a quote unquote boss each monster you get to kill. And then you set it so the monster can't leave its own little area. Then there wouldn't be the opportunity for them to overlap. But to make it better, we need to. Yeah, we can add some random elements. Like it can randomly jump, maybe the movement speed can be calculated randomly just by a slight variation. So then you can get some separation, some accordion. So it's looking like that. You can have it randomly jump every second or so. It decides if it wants to jump. Maybe it can jump over an enemy. So it kind of looks, you get some variation like that. Is that kind of what you're thinking? Or another way is, I'm thinking you can add a slight variation when the enemy spawns to the Z. Like very slight. And then the melee attack trigger can only go after the one that's closest, that's further forward. Right? We can set up something like that so it can only attack one at a time. I have seen something like that. So it wouldn't add too much visually. It would still look the same. It would help with the overlapping if they were on top of each other too, displaying the models. So one would obviously be rendered in front of the other, but like 0.01, just enough to be able to tell them apart, give some distance, and then also be able to decide which one it should attack. And then I think like movement also, we should have some sort of minor variability, randomness. Monster speed could be, when it's initiated, a random set between 0.9 and 1.1 of the monster base speed. Yeah, I don't know. That's probably not the best way to do that. That's just where my mind went. But I think that makes it an easy determination, right? If there's more than one enemy in the hitbox, check the enemy component, transform, Z value, and only attack the greatest one, the one that's highest. Or I think in our case, the most negative, I forget. Yeah, I think the smallest. And we could work into that. I think that's actually going to be pretty easy to implement. Yeah, because I'm hesitant, even with the player rigid body and collider, having them bounce into each other. Yeah, let's open this up real quick. And I just want to know your thoughts. Sorry, make sure we're all good here. Okay. So when we're going, I don't know if I like how it we can push each other necessarily. I almost want to just be able to jump through and attack from this side. Oh, now let's come over here now. Let's attack over here. And just kind of walk through it. I also need to set it so if... I guess it wouldn't be an issue if we change it like that, but... We can't jump when we land on top of a monster right now. Because it doesn't recognize that as a ground component to check to see if our player is grounded. What do you think on that? Do you think the players should colliders should interact? Do you think just we run into it and just adding a knockback each time? If they collide, bounces back. All right, I think we can add knockback relatively easily, right? Because we already have where we get somewhere here, collision, okay. And we hit player, we can just add a knockback here, right? Oh. If I could spell, would be great. And then we just do a setup right here. And what we need to do is pass the direction the monster is moving. Nah, I want that lowercase. Wow, why does... Do you ever look at a word? Pushing that vector away from the other. Yeah. Yeah, I think we use that same kind of thing for our patrolling. Oh, that's in that enemy movement. Oh, we did a distance. Kind of same thing, right? It gets a vector 3 distance. But in here, yeah, like I was saying, like, you ever look at a word so many times and it doesn't seem like a real word anymore? Like, I was looking at knockback and I'm like, that does not look right. Clear. What's the... You always have school. So what's the best way to get the direction the enemy is moving? And then we can get... Player position minus enemy position gets a vector away from the other. That just gives you do be sure to normalize it. You meaning just to normalize it to get the magnitude of the distance away? So it's not positive or negative there. Can we just get the rigid body velocity? If it's positive or negative, we know which direction it was going, and then we can set the player in that direction. Oh, okay, yeah. I get you. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I gotta remember all the get component rigid body. What about patrolling enemies? I mean, we have... Our enemies do have a very basic patrolling. For right now. So, I don't know if you heard when we initiated this one, but they just get set for knockback. What if the player hits them from behind? Oh, that's a good point. In theory, with our scripts here, I guess we need to add monster knockback too, and player knockback. So easy for the monster knockback, it is whatever direction the player is facing. So we have that player direction that we can pull, and that'll send the monster in that direction. If the player hits the enemy from behind, or like runs into it, based on our script, that shouldn't be a case because it's always consistently checking the distance between the player. And if it's within the monster radius, it immediately starts moving towards the player. So there shouldn't be an instance where if the enemy hits a player from behind, if the enemy hits a player from behind, it'll be setting the knockback to the direction the monster's moving. So if the player's turned around, the monster hits it, it's going to push it in whatever the direction the monster was moving. So it'll knock back that way. So if the player's facing right and the enemy is coming from left to right, it'll push the player further to the right. Right? And then we could set, that could work as well for any projectiles. Whatever direction the projectile's moving, that's the way the player should move. And on a projectile or ranged attack from the monster, we can have the amount of knockback determined by the projectile will have like a projectile mass or something. So it's just like throwing a little rock. It's barely a knockback. If some of the harder monsters throws a boulder, it's going to knock the player back more. I think. Yeah, so we do need to add knockback into our enemy as well. That is okay. Maybe I'm just not thinking about that. Can you like explain it just a little bit? Because the way I'm thinking, player position on any position, it's gives you a vector, so they could all be moving in different ways. If player's on the left of the monster, I guess they'd always want to get knocked back to the left. And if it's opposite, they'll always want to get knocked back the other way. So is that about right? Sorry, no matter which way. it wants to get knocked back if it's positive or negative from -1 to 1 or whatever you're saying there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I said that weird, but now when I kind of said it out loud, it makes more sense. It's simplifying the same idea. You have no idea why it works, but it does. Hey, we always get some of those, right? Oh. Okay, where are we at? No, I think it makes sense. I think it makes sense. Now I'm lost here. Okay, there we go. Yes, collision player knockback. Let's set a... I think we got to do vector 3. Cool. Knockback 4 times normalize. I mean, okay. Let me do... Okay, so there's normalize here. I don't know if this vector 3 is going to work here. But we can figure that out. Because I don't know if it's exactly stored like that. Sorry, I just want to... I guess it's just a float. Transformed opposition. Oh. But this wouldn't be a vector 3 necessarily, right? Do I have the player? Would we... Well, do we need to pass the enemy object to this method, right? Because it's only in here. Now I gotta remember. So we want to... This is the one I always forget how to pass certain things through here. So we get our enemy object, we store it here, and we pass this. And then this is going to be stored as an enemy object. That's not how you spell that. Is that all right if they're the same name? Wait, get component. And no, we don't want that enemy object. Because that's just getting the component. I meant if I can use the same, since it's defined here and here, those are separate, right? So if I've called this here and this here, it's not going to be an issue. But I don't, enemy object, we don't want just that. We need to pass the rigid body, right? Or the game object, because we need to get the transform. This is just getting the component. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Since these are two separate, you can't access, this is only defined in here, they should be fine. But we don't want to do that. We want to store the game object or rigid body. And now I gotta remember. Sorry. Sorry. Do you know how to do that real quick? Or I just want to make sure that, so in our collision enter, we get the enemy object. That's to get the information from the enemy, such as attack, health, or whatever. But we also want to get the transform. Syntax. That's not what I wanted to open. Every time there's a dot, every time you use a period, it thinks you're trying to send a link and it censors it. Yeah, if you use commas. Can we just take this? I mean, and this has to be new. Yeah, like that. Okay. So this one, we actually want to pass the enemy position over, because that's the most important part, right? So then we do vector 3 enemy position. There we go. There we go. That should work, right? So we get this. if the collision occurs, we take the enemy's position, which is the transform position of the collision object, which is the enemy. We pass it into player knockback enemy position. In our player knockback, we define a new vector 3 for the enemy's position. So we normalize. Okay, now let me... Yeah, I gotta look at the right syntax here. Attached to the game object. Yeah, that's fine. That's on the player. Minus, sorry, I was a little quiet there. Enemy position. That should work. Okay, where are all of our errors? Oh yeah, enemy death. Let's do this real quick. Debug.log. I think we just want to destroy the game object. Just make sure I get that. Object at destroy. All right, should that work? Right, that should destroy the wherever this is attached to. Yep, got it. I just capitalization, make sure it's all coming to me. It's all coming to me. Okay. I just want to, what do I need to do? Is it plus sign here? Okay, let's run it. Let's see how everything's looking. I want to make sure the knockback, how it normalizes it, because I'm curious. I don't exactly know. Okay, so if these two collide. All right, nothing popped up. I also need to enemy hit player. That's fine. Jump through platform. Enemy movement. Okay, these work now. Let's wrong way. Comment those out because those were just going way too much. Enemy moving right. That was working. Enemy moving left. That works fine. Targeting player. Okay. Let's try this one again. There's something so therapeutic about going through this and just debugging and scripting and something like that. I don't know what it is. Okay, let's see if the knockback debug hit. Okay, perfect. Now let's try this way. It said -1 0 0 1 0 0. Beautiful. That is awesome. It worked just like you wrote it up. Right, because we went to that side, 1 0 0, which would push it in that direction. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I love when things work out. I want to add in our enemy object, public float enemy knockback power. And this way, each enemy can have a different knockback. If we have some big enemy, you can launch us clear across the map, right? I love when things work out. Enemy, what are we going to give you? Let's just test this one with a knockback power of 0.5. Just to get an idea how it's going to feel. Every time I do this, it's way off, so it just launches us clear across the map or something like that. So now we are in... Where are we at? Player controller. Knockback. So we got that. We also want to pass the knockback value, right? So we do float enemy knock back. I need to go in here. I don't know why I keep capitalizing that, but it's gonna bug me. Cool. Save that. Now let's go in here, enemy knockback, and we're in our player controller. Okay, we want to pass enemy knockback equals enemy object dot enemy knockback. So we want to pass enemy position. Can we also pass enemy knockback? So vector 3 enemy position float enemy knock. You know, that's a very fair point to make sure it's noticeable, because I actually had that issue with, I was messing with the jump force or something early on in this, and I thought it just wasn't working, but it was because it was too small. When you change it to whatever it was, then everything worked fine. So that's actually a very good point. And we should put together a list of what's better and what's not. It's better to have a player fly off the map than not notice that things are working. I think that's number one. So we got our vector 3 is perfect, and we just need to add a... I mean, we're already using rigid body. Do you like the add force, or do you like setting velocity of the player? And I guess also with knockback, we want it to add force. I want it to knock back to give him a little jump too. Let's go to, let me just steal. Oh, I did. Do we have an add force one? Yep. It's fine if it looks broken, but isn't really. Because you can fine tune everything later on to get the right magnitude and scale of it all. I think that's a great rule. Okay, so then we need to do we... We call out the rigid body right here, yeah. Is it add force? So vector 3 is... Yep, that's what I was going to do. I was just going to take the X value from our knockback times normalize. So, and our X value would be knockback direction dot X times enemy knockback. Our Y will just be, I don't want to hard code this in, but yeah. I wonder what it'd look like if we use this as well. So if they have a strong knockback, it just launches them at basically a 45-degree angle. Yeah, right. I don't want it to be hard-coded. We can mess with that. If we need to divide this by a certain number. Yeah, I'm okay dividing this by like 5, but then you still have a number that you can adjust to make it work. And then a force mode. Do we do force mode impulse? Yeah, people say hard coding is bad. It's just really hard to go back in and figure out exactly where it is. Let's try this out. Let's just see what happens. Okay, get over here, enemy. Oh, look at that. Why is it getting bigger and bigger? Is it? No, it's the same. Oh, that's fun. It's not, it's is it increasing? Negative 49. Oh, we're at the map limit. Hey, Mario, how's it going? Is it getting bigger each time or not? I'm looking at the vector for the normalized knockback, and it's coming out the same number each time, so it... Shh. We're doing all right here. We're doing good. Another day in here working on some interactions between the player and the enemies right now, so we just added some knockback. And I think it's going all right. Let's look at it again. Right? I mean, the numbers are all staying the same. Let's just make sure. Yeah, because I'm with you. If that was increasing each time, I have no idea why it would have been. All right. 1, -1. Yeah, I think the thing is, if you're... It's just when you change directions, or if you're jumping into it. Why does that... That's definitely That's not a glitch. That's how it's supposed to be, right? Look at that. Why is it... It's a feature. That's what it is. I couldn't... It's not a glitch. It's a feature. That's how you're supposed to get up to places. Look at that. Oh. Yeah, it's when you're jumping into it. Yeah, right. Super jump. I think we're onto something, guys. Look at this. Come on. There we go. Just bypass the whole thing. Starting to like how the platforming is starting to feel a lot better on this too, actually. Besides our super jump. So what is causing that? It's because we're just adding force. It's adding force in the direction, so if we're jumping up, it's adding a force while we're already jumping up, which I think... Yeah. So if it's an impulse, that's just a 1 frame force, right? Or that's using its mass. What's... Yeah, that's fine. That's how everything else is. I wonder if we... set... right before it does a knockback. Here, I'm just going to test this one out. If we set the Y velocity to 0 and just right before we add that force, if it makes it so it doesn't give us that crazy... we'll keep the X velocity. We'll set this to 0. Just for funsies. Yeah, there's just something going on with the iframes. Yeah. Yeah, let's just see this. Okay, that feels better. Urgh. Whoa! Okay, it happens less frequently. We just glitched through the thing. Okay, why did it just happen that one time? Now it's a feature. Because it's going to have to be a frame-perfect jump. And then now all the speedrunners can use it. Right? You guys are here for this. Just remember, if you ever start speedrunning this game, there is one frame where you can launch off the enemy. I don't know why we're getting stuck up there. There it is. If you jump at the exact same time that that it adds that force impulse. That's what it is. Is that really? You kind of put these little, maybe not purposely, but things that the normal player is not going to find. So then it can add a new level to the gameplay, so you can get a different community, whether casual players, speedrunners. I'm kind of okay with that. Don't tell anyone though, okay? We'll leave that for now. That'll be something that we can fine tune. We'll go in. So we do have a nice. Oh, I want to check to see if our glitches are fun. Yep. Glitches are fun until they're... I used to watch a lot of Ocarina of Time speedruns because all the glitches to beat that I thought were cool. But then when they glitched it out too much, it is... You can't even watch it anymore. So they're fun to an extent. Like clipping... There we go. It died. Clipping out of bounds, doing these other things to get through the map faster, I like. But once you start like manipulating memory in certain ways to just get everything you need, that's where it loses me. All right, let's save. Let's save. I like that. So I think the next thing, mess with the skills. Do we want to just add a, I don't want to just add a random ranged attack. I want to kind of think about how we want them to be. I mean, we could start going into what skills or power-ups that the characters want to have, but I kind of want to work more on the gameplay mechanic a little bit more. So for the map, we got level bounds. Oh, yeah. Touche. We need it on the enemy as well. Enemy movement. The thing is, all of these... Oh, wait, no, we have that, right? Oh, that's enemy health. Yep. So I think we just really just do this thing. And this is going to be enemy knock back. Nope. Void. There we go. Now let's copy and... If it requires you to know code in binary, it's too much. I agree. I agree. It's no longer a glitch at that point. It's programming, right? Oh, that's right. We need to be in here. Yeah. I know we don't have any of those yet. The very yes, a very particular engine. That's really funny. So what do we need? We need game object tag. Sorry. And this can just be melee position. It's going to be taking the transform from the melee hitbox, but I think that's fine. You'd want it to come from there instead of... It should calculate the same thing, right? It's going to be on the same side. Except, actually, no. Because the melee doesn't have a rigid body. So it can be right on top of the enemy, and if it's a small enemy, it could make it backwards. So we want to take it from the parent. So how do we take the transform from the parent? Right? Because this is all based on the melee attack, which is a game object, which is a child to the player. But where the melee attack hitbox falls on the enemy object is different than the player, so the calculation to find out which direction to go would be wrong. You wouldn't want it to be just like slightly over the midpoint and then start shooting it backwards. Even though, I guess, technically that would be how it would calculate. All right, let me just make sure. Do I just add parent here? Transform.parent.position. Is that right? Yes, it would. But like I'm saying, our hitbox for our melee attack it's a trigger. So the hitbox can go over the top of the enemy. And if you have a really small enemy, projectiles would be different. So if you have a really small enemy and you're right against it, your melee attack hitbox, the center of it, could actually be beyond the center of the small hitbox of the enemy. So when you calculate it, it would actually end up being a negative. That's the only reason why I want to take it from the parent. Yeah. Why is it yelling at me? Because we have collision, and we need collider other. Okay, enemy knockback, and we want to pass our melee position. what would it be? What am I missing here? Oh yeah, yep. Sorry. No, this is transform dot parent dot position. I think this is right. I have the syntax over here. Yeah, we'll see. So we want to send over a melee position. And is that it for this one? I'm guessing in our player attributes. Let's do this again. Add a melee knockback. And then we want to get the parent component of the parent. So then we get do we already take the player attributes? Oh, we already got player. So we can just pull it right here, right? Oh, yep. It's been a great time. Thanks for all your help with this. I think we're getting in a good spot again. This has been fun. Really enjoy working through all this with other people. It's really enjoyable. Take care. Maybe we'll see you next week. Oh, it's because transform. It's not a game object. Hey, Bulb Turtle, how's it going? Welcome back. It's going all right. How about you? I mean, normal can be good, right? What was I doing here? Yeah, I know, we had all these errors. Got all these errors. Nothing out of the ordinary. So nothing good, nothing bad. We take those days sometimes. We take those. Yeah, so right now we're working on our player interaction enemy. So we're kind of messing around with some knockback, and I'm just confusing myself right now. That's fine. We already have player. Oh, so we didn't even need this. Yeah. So we already have the player position, is what we were getting here. We have one for when the player gets hit already, so this one is for when the player hits the enemy. And I think this is actually a lot easier than the other one, since we already have the player referenced. Minus right, so the player. Yeah, it's already the transform. So I don't even think. Normally, transform position would be from the enemy. Player position, that'll give us what direction to go to. What do we call that? RB enemy. And this was. Yes, this one's an enemy. So it'll apply to each individual enemy that this is attached to. The other one for the player is on the player controller. We get our player knockback. So we have our two different. Why did I do? Oh, this was because I don't think we need this one here. Enemy knockback does not exist. That does not exist because this is now under player object. Yep. Player. Yeah, so we need to pull the player knockback variable off the attributes. Which is fine. All right. So then we want to do. What can I think about this right now? Okay, let me hear the question. Um, no, yeah, I guess it does just need to be on the x-axis. It really just needs to give us a direction. So really, it doesn't need to be a vector 3, right? That's a good point. Can we just do a float and normalize between dot x? Is that... we weren't really having issues right now. It was working how we wanted it to. Like this, we did have a feature, a bug, and I think it's probably related to that, where if you jump at the exact frame that you get knocked back, it launches you backwards 5 times more than it should. So that might have something to do with this, but this knockback works fine. I'm just converting this into something that works for the enemy as well. The other way around. So if we run into an enemy, we get knocked back just fine. And now we need to do it if we hit them, we knock them back. And right now I just need to pull the player knockback value into here, which for whatever reason I am forgetting the syntax. That's the only thing right here. I think we just... Oh, that's what. Probably could just do that. Let's leave this for now, just to make sure this is working. Float. Player knock. What I want is player attributes. What am I doing wrong here? Oh. Let's do wait, do I already have this? This could be all... No, I don't have play. What? Why am I... Oh, I need to add... Is that it there? All right, sorry. Sorry, is in that. So that makes sense to... I don't know if this is the... It's probably not the best format, but I think it's going to do what I want it to. And trip found when just so I know when that's going. Okay. Then we go enemy oh, melee knockback. That's why. That's why. I love Ocarina of Time. I know, I feel old too. I feel super old. But the music's so good. So good. Okay, that should be fine. That should be fine. It's a rigid body. All right, is this gonna work? So let's set our melee knockback. Let's do something crazy. And this way we should see the enemy just go completely crazy. Get over here. Get over here. No, we do not. Did I not set a reference to... Yeah, I'm getting... Oh, the enemy died. Knockback. No, okay. I'm not getting the player attribute. So we are getting the log. We are not pulling this correctly. Wait. No, that's wrong. So if that equals null, done. The function enemy knockback. Yeah, this is getting called for sure. Yeah, because that debug log was popping up. So player knockback. Okay, killed the enemy. Cool. But yeah, so it's getting called because this debug. Oh wait. Oh, let me make sure that one. Let's change this. Sorry, let's comment that one out. I just want to make sure that we're only getting it from the... Yeah, exactly. Yep. But we were getting the... Yeah, we're getting that. So the message is popping up. Okay, so this is popping up in our enemy movement. This direction is correct. This is calculating correct. Here, we'll just do this one more time. Enemy knockback. This is getting pulled. Yeah, let's add another one here. Oh, okay. Yep, look it up. It should... Because we did pull it from the RB enemy, which is attached to the... Yeah, it should be... Yeah, appreciate it. Okay, the player knockback is 10. Okay, it's pulling everything right. It could be... have something to do with... Because it's probably because our enemy's mass is 5. So a knockback force of... You know, I think really what we need to do, what's our... Player's mass, like 0.05. How's this change things? The knockback is not, it's outside of the update loop. There it goes. The mass of our enemy was just way too high. I have the mass set to basically 0. Boom, gone. It reminds me of Super Smash Brothers when you're playing the sandbag game. I won't do it again. It was fun. Yeah, but I think that really just needs to be set to like 0.5. The home run hit, exactly. I should add that sound effect, like ching. That's hilarious. And I think eventually we'll have this knockback calculated, because I mean it should be calculated by like your strength, right, for your melee attack. The home run hit. Get over here. Oh, it's going the wrong way. Knockback is... Why would it be going the wrong way? The values look right. It should be... And when it was a big number, it was going fine. Hey, get over here. And this is what you're talking about. It's a feature. It's not a glitch, guys. It's a feature. There you go. You get up there. Get away from me. Why did it work fine? It's just a tool for the speedrunners. They'll figure out something with it. So So the knockback is, let me look at the debug log again. Because it should be going player minus enemy, kind of gives us the knockback is 1, enemy knockback is 0.82, 0.57. So it should still launch it that way, but I think it's, since it's moving at whatever velocity it needs to be, that's not right. So this may be getting into the point where we really need to not worry about vector as magnitude 1 is the same direction. I mean, it's right. Magnitude 1, same direction as the given vector. So I guess the magnitude is what? So if we have any y variation, like you say, it's going to do the magnitude. It'll be the magnitude, but it'll be at that angle, whatever it's at. So what this, we really need this to be is not a vector 3. We only care about the x. So what type of variable? Right? We don't need this to be a vector 3. I mean, I guess we do, but we want this to just be why can't you do this? If you could subtract the two vector 3s, right? Well, what am I doing here? Does this need to be a new vector 3? Right? That should do the same thing. Exactly the same thing we were doing, except we're ignoring the y and z, and then it'll force us to 1, -1, and I know it's not the prettiest. I think it's more complicated than it needs to be, but it should do this. Should do the same thing. Okay, it's always. Okay, it's always 1. That's good. I think our something going on with. Let's just change our enemy's mass. I do want it to go up a little bit though, to make it like a little jump back. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want it just to skirt backwards. Yeah, let's just do a fixed. Let's see what that looks like. So we did that, and we changed our enemy's mass to 1. Just because they don't need to do all the platforming. Okay. And that's not going to work because your mass is too high now. I don't like messing with all these physics. Should have just done everything in to translate or move everything via translation instead of physics. Yeah, because the thing is, I mean, the knockback feels fine on the player. Let's do our knockback. Let's just see what this looks like. I think it's working right. I think the problem is immediately after it gets knocked back, the next frame it sets the velocity to a different value in the other direction. Maybe. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's what's happening. So it gets knocked back, sure, for the slight bit, but our enemy movement, our velocity is... It should move towards the player, like, smoothly. So it should go towards it. So maybe we just do... where's our player? Do this again. I mean, that feels decent right there, actually. I think we need to give it a little more. Not that one. Enemy knockback. If we give this like now the 0.5F, or if our player knockback is 10, maybe do a 1/10 of that. Because I mean, I don't know about you, but I feel like that felt better right there. It's almost there. It's almost there. All right, no one needs to know how the sausage is made when they're playing the game. I mean, it'll all be documented, but yeah, it's so floaty. That is closer, though. The problem is... Does my enemy... What I need to do... I don't think I have our gravity applying to enemies properly. I think that's... Because I'm not using the default gravity, because it was being kind of a pain in the butt. I didn't like how I was interacting with everything. So we have our own gravity. Yeah, I don't have that on the enemy. So I need to... Wait, do I? No, I don't. It's just always... I need to because... Just like the player, when it's on the platform, I have it so it ignores platforms right now. But I need to have it so it can be on a platform when I set him up there. So there needs to be some trigger or some collider that it can be on the platform but not run into it with its head. So I think that's what I need to add next. And then I can add our same gravity. Where was that at? Not that one. Yeah, right here. But I also need the gravity force. I think I probably need to pull that out. Because right now it's in the player controller. I need to pull it out to be in a... Yep, that's a good point. If it's in the air, it can't chase us. So if it's not grounded, it can't chase us. And also that the gravity affects it like it should. And then we also need that for the platforms, so it can be on a platform, but not. So we need to add another collider that we can use for the grounded and also to interact with our platforms so they can be up there. I mean, that's all doable. I don't know what time is it. I don't have much more time today, so I probably won't jump in that. Let's see, so this is all starting to feel better. Look, I can actually platform now. Feels a little wonky. Yeah, it's getting there for sure. It feels good too, I think. Except I don't know why it was... What's it running into? That's weird. I'll have to look into that. Camera feels pretty good. I think I want to smooth it out just a tiny bit more. But overall, it feels pretty good. The jumps are a little, like, I don't know why it has a little delay when we jump up at the top. Still, I've tried to look into that. I don't know what's causing that. The controls feel pretty good. There's just enough control when you're in the air to make it feel okay to jump to the platforms without it being too crazy where it follows everything. So there's a little like acceleration, deceleration, so it makes platforming possible. These don't even have hitboxes that collide. Yeah, the camera follows nice when we jump. It's not too jerky. This feels good. Here, I want to show you if I can get it. There we go. That's going to be the speedrunning strat. There it is. I mean, maybe I don't. Let's I think there is. If we're looking at the game view, or the scene view. Yeah, there is, and I don't know what is causing it. It's bugging me. I have no idea what it is. And it's only when you're, like, so you only notice it when you're standing, so when you're jumping around, it feels pretty good. What am I colliding with here? You know what it is? I think it's... Get away from me! Oh, now we're stuck because you weigh too much. What I think... Not the... Sorry, I don't know what the delay is. But I think running into this is for a one-way platform. Player controller. What I think I need, because it's grounded, so we check our ground check. What is our player collider? No, so it excludes those. Okay, no, so it shouldn't be interacting with that. Ground check. That's fine. That just checks if we're grounded. Platform check. Oh, good point. Good point. No, there's still something. Right, I turned that off, right? Get away. Yep, we gotta fix that. What could be causing it? Why is it only right here? What's going on right here? Oh, do I have a random game object? Wait a second. Is there something? There's something right here. What was that? Did you see that? Is it? Can I be running into the directional light? Is that a thing? what? What's right here? No, there's. What is this? Oh my. I am so confused. And it's only right. It's only right here. Nothing weird there. Get out of here. What is it? Is it my attack box collider? It's... I am so confused. No, I'm gonna have to get going too here in just a second. No worries. This is bugging me now. I mean, is there something behind back here? Yep. Catch me next time. Yeah, I think it is time. 10:30. Yeah, I think this is a good spot. We made actually a lot of good progress, especially with our interactions with the enemies. We will keep going with this. I will hopefully figure out what the heck I'm bumping my head into, because that's wild. Yeah, let's save this. Let's get all of these. And thanks everyone for stopping by today. Same time next week. Be the plan. I think I will be taking off probably the next couple weeks. Well, maybe not next week, the week after that, but we'll see.